from Dover, New Hampshire. Well, you know, for now, I think well over a year and a half, Ted and I have been presenting to you as many of the alien criminal stories as we can find in order to dispel the very, very dangerous propaganda from the communist left in this country that the illegal aliens are all a bunch of flower people. I mean, they're really like nice people, and it's like the old immigrants. I don't know if they're talking about the old immigrants who came over legally. They sure as hell are not like them. Or the old immigrants that came over illegal. They sure as hell are not like them. This is a totally different group of immigrants driven by the fact that the president of the United States made a traitorous, insane, counterproductive, self-destructive, traitorous act of opening our borders. Do you know of a country that has ever opened its borders and said, anybody that wants to come in can come in? If you run a major human trafficking ring and you're a multi-billionaire and you are smart, because these people are smart. That's why they make multi-billions in these things. Or they're shrewd, or they pay attention to the things that affect them. If they hear that the biggest and richest country on earth is wide open and they can, without much risk, bring people in, what do, asshole Democrat? Is it possible for you to get beyond your Trump derangement syndrome or the brainwashing you've been subjected to by the communist-dominated Democrat Party for so long and get to the result that if a president is criminal enough, insane enough, irresponsible enough, and hates his country enough to say, my borders are open. Not only can you come in, I'll send my border patrol to help you swim in. And I'll put the ones in jail who try to stop you. What do you think Mr. Major human girl trafficker in the world is going to do? He's going to say, let's concentrate on America. Wow. He just opened up the biggest and richest market for trafficking. Oh, and the biggest and richest marketing for fentanyl, and the biggest and richest market for drugs, and the biggest and richest marketing for any form of fraud or terrorism. And there are no barriers now, and it may change. So let's get them in quickly before a human being becomes president and not an autopat. That's what happened in the last 4 years. There's no one exaggerating that. I didn't exaggerate that for political purposes. I exaggerated that not at all. I pointed it out because I love this country, because that's why I was in law enforcement. I thought that's how I could best save my country. And I emphasized it because it was killing so many innocent young people and continues to. And now we live with what we allowed. Miranda Devine in her column today, and I'm not going to dispute Miranda's number. She says 25 million came in. People will say, oh, that's impossible. That's impossible. It was only 10 million. I'll tell you how she could get to 25 million. I never got an answer to one part of it that'll answer it. 8.5 million came in that we have registered. 2 to 3 million came in that were gotaways, and we got indications of them, and we have notations of them. That gets you to roughly 12 to 13 million. Now, you want to know how you get those other 8 million? People you never saw. Now, even to this day, and I don't know why the Trump Justice Department doesn't open this up, and I'm gonna recommend this on the council that I'm on. We have lost count about 15 years ago of the people that do not fit into the category of having been apprehended, and in the case of Biden, let in the case of Trump, thrown out, or the gotaways, which are the people we see. They're rounding up the guys they have, and then they see a bunch of people running over the border, and they chase them and they can't catch them. But then they make a notation: 4 white males wearing a bloop, 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 got into the country. So now we have a basic identification of a person who entered: a big, tall white male, a short white female. Or we may even have caught them and they ran away. Those are in the got-away list. That list has varied between 1.5 and 2 million. So you take your 8 and you add 2 and you get to 11. Now, how do we determine the number of people you never get to see? Hard to do, has to be an extrapolation, a guess from a study. When studies were done of this, they came up with formulas back in the day. And it was done by left-wing universities. So I am sure if anything, they're extremely low. And roughly it was, for everyone that you properly identify, you're going to probably have taken in, depending on the conditions, anywhere from 50 to 200% more. What are the conditions? How busy are you? The less busy you are, the smaller the percentage. Like now, probably very few. Of course, we have a lot of extra resources to go looking around for people that sneak in. When we were getting 100 times more per day than we're getting now, you had no time for that. They knew that because they're professionals. And they increased the number of high-value people they brought in that way. So if those studies from MIT, Harvard, and University of Pennsylvania are correct, that 50% would get to push 100 to 150%. So if we got 8 million, lowest would be 12. Highest would be 16 to 18. You can justify any of those numbers if you want. The most dramatic and worst thing about it is we do not know who they are. They knew we wouldn't know who they are, so they sent their worst persons in here. Like Leone Soto, who has been hanging around here and going back and forth for I don't know how long, just making a mockery out of he doesn't have a right to be here. He's a moped-riding illegal immigrant. I mean, these guys don't know how to ride anything, by the way. And he uses the moped not to hit people like some of them do, but he uses it, and this is a big Bronx crime, it's stretched to Manhattan, to go along on his moped, grab your purse, grab your packages, and bang you the hell over the head if you're lucky. If you're unlucky, he'll stab you. That's 30-year-old Leone Soto. Leone was caught on the weekend in Washington Heights, and he was going around. He came in from El Paso, Texas, from the Dominican. He's carried out 3 gunpoint robberies. He carried them out in the 15 minutes before his fatal encounter with a New York City police officer. 9:35 on Sunday morning at the rear of 4040 Broadway, he stole at gunpoint a moped of a 27-year-old man. They then went ahead and robbed a married couple on 3800 Broadway. He said, give me your necklace or I'll kill you. And he ripped the necklace off. He then approached a 55-year-old man and he grabbed his gold bracelet and gold chain. They went ahead and they targeted another man. And they began by saying, does Steve live here? And as he was doing that, does Steve live here? Like a Westerner, he reached in and got his gun out in order to either subdue or kill the guy he was talking to. So he goes for his gun. Thank God he was facing a New York City police officer who was sharp, probably a lot sharper than him, and a lot more physically pliable. Before he could get the gun out, as it was coming out, he got his gun out and he sent him on to the afterlife. Got his gun out first as he was fumbling with his, and he put 3 bullets in him. The cops recovered a 9mm handgun and the jewelry that was stolen from the people in that spree of robberies. This is indicative of who Biden brought in and knew he was bringing in. This is indicative of who the Democrats brought in and who they know they've brought in. And this is indicative of the people they're trying to bring back. And you want to know why? Because they don't give a shit for your safety. They give a shit for their election. And they get these people to vote. Oh, there's no illegal voting. I was basically crucified for illegal voting. And I'm going to tell you, it happens. It's been happening for a long time, and it's happening right now. And there is a terror campaign to protect it because there's so much kickback money made in it, including to the politicians who get kickbacks from the election companies. Now, we got another one. 3 people were killed. 3 innocent people were killed in Florida. You know this one, I think. I hope you've seen this in the paper. A guy who is an illegal, who doesn't know anything about driving an automobile, much less a trailer. He's an illegal from India, has no right to be here, has been thrown out of here several times, but that didn't make any difference. Now, he got himself without a test, written, oral, or an actual test, a commercial license. It allows him to drive a complicated truck. This guy can't drive a little bumper scooter. Half these people can't drive bumper scooters. And he also has a history of drunk driving and banging up on sidewalks. And he hasn't been thrown out of the United States because we're a compassionate people. Oh, you see all these liberals on television. You know how you describe them? They're the ones who haven't showered. You see them on the street talking to people like Ted, and they haven't showered. Then they talk, and they have like, it's supposed to be a to have shit on their face, and they're very dirty, and they do they smell? These people smell. These liberals.
This is the video of the crash.
Yeah, so this guy doesn't know what the hell he's doing. He's had so many accidents, but since he's never really given an accident, never took a driving test, and he's driving a complicated, deadly automobile. Because we don't really give a damn if we kill our people, as long as we get illegal immigrants into the country. His name is Harjinder Singh. He's been denied work papers, then he was given work papers, then he was denied work papers. He secured a commercial driver's license without taking an exam. He was arrested on Saturday. He was driving a tractor trailer that he had no idea how to operate. And he killed a 37-year-old Pompano Beach woman, a 30-year-old Florida City man, and a 54-year-old Miami man by losing control of the car, flipping it around and going up on a sidewalk, which is the 4th or 5th time he had a serious accident. And because he's your license would have been taken. But because he's a criminal illegal alien who we have to show compassion for, we decided, F our citizens, because we know we showed no compassion for the 30-year-old Florida man who's now dead and did nothing wrong, the 54-year-old Miami man who's dead and did nothing wrong, and the 37-year-old Pompano Beach woman who is dead and did nothing wrong, because we decided that our compassion would be in the direction of the illegal, as opposed to caring about the safety of our innocent citizens who contribute their hearts to this country. This is why these people who support any form of illegal immigration hate America, because you can't have an America if there's going to be illegal immigration. You can't even have a reasonably safe place to live for you and your children. It's over. The debate over illegal immigration is over. The people arguing for it are people arguing for the downfall of the United States. No country going back to Greece and Rome, the Greco-Roman scholars on government would laugh at us that we want to have an open border. They'd say, how can you have a country with an open border? Why don't you just go back into the savage jungles? Is there times when you think we're back in the savage jungles? I don't know. Want to take a ride around sometime with me?
Well, Mayor, on that note, we do have a very special guest joining us, a longtime friend of the
I'm looking
show.
forward to it.
A longtime friend of the show. Well, here he is, the one and only.
Oh, what a good time. We can talk. We can talk to him about the negotiations, huh?
There
he is.
There he is. There he
Hey.
Hey, George Papadopoulos, former Trump campaign foreign policy advisor and current foreign policy extraordinaire. We've seen him. Many of you have seen him on your televisions the last few days and really years. But he's had some really, really good insight, Mayor, as you know, on the ongoing
George,
conflict.
And you know what? Without leading you, and I'd like you to just tell us the last 3-4 days. I mean, starting with Friday, with the meeting with Putin, and then I don't know about you, that meeting in the White House. That's got to be it can be in history books. I don't know that we've ever had so many heads of state come into a president, and there was a point that Trump called on Macron and he said, Emmanuel, and Macron said, Mr. President. I mean, he's clearly the leader. And so where are we now? It seems to me he was executing a very complex, one of his very, very complex 3-level strategies. I don't even know if they know what happened to them, but I think they ended up in a good place.
Yeah, Mr. Mayor, thanks a lot for having me. It's a real honor to be with you again. Look, I think what we're really witnessing and what the world is witnessing is the replacement of the weak and feckless leadership, if you want to even call it that, under the Biden administration has now been replaced with bold and decisive leadership. I think President Trump and his administration has been extremely systematic in their approach to various conflicts around the world and how they were going to present the United States from a position of power in any negotiations when it came to people like Vladimir Putin or Zelensky and the European Union. If you just look what President Trump has actually accomplished over the last 6 months, he has not only stopped 6 different conflicts in 6 months, he's also been able to ink tremendous economic deals with some of the largest economies all around the world. He's forced NATO to expand their own defense expenditures while simultaneously negotiating behind the scenes. And then, like you mentioned about Alaska, he brings Putin to a summit in Alaska. He shows him who's boss. He says, these are the red lines. This is what the United States is willing to accept. Then what does he do? Then he goes back to Washington, D.C., where the center of economic, political, and security power is once again. He brings the Europeans there. They're listening to what he has to say. He brings Zelensky there. He dresses up for the occasion. He even calls Putin. And what's the result? We're likely going to have a trilateral summit. We're likely going to see a peace agreement. And it all happened, Mr. Mayor, because of the approach that the president and his administration took leading up to this.
Well, you know, it's amazing because 2.5 or 3 years of war, I can't remember now, but 2.5 or 3 years of war, Nothing like this has even been attempted. It's like we didn't care if people were dying. Even if you have to have a war, you should be trying at all times to try to solve it so it doesn't go any further than it has to. And this is the first time, and some of the European leaders expressed that, almost like reminded themselves, what happened? One of them, I've forgotten who it was. It may have been Stearman. Said, we never had a meeting like this, like we should have. I mean, we should be talking constantly, if we're at war, how to end the war.
Well, that's the difference between a peace president and somebody who campaigned on peace and ending forever wars versus somebody that wanted to feed the military-industrial complex and engage in forever wars. People like Joe Biden and the feckless and the weak President Obama, and obviously what Hillary Clinton was all about that President Trump ended up defeating. So President Trump has actually championed this approach since 2015 when he went down those escalators, Mr. Mayor. You know it better than anyone.
Because of what you were going through and he was going through, that Russiagate, Russian collusion thing, nobody would buy it. They thought it was compensation for the charges against him. I knew it, what he really wanted to do.
No, of course. And actually what's very important for everybody to understand is that Russiagate or Obamagate, whatever you want to call it, actually criminalized diplomacy. It prevented President Trump from actually, engaging in foreign affairs as the executive of this country, and that created a potential national security crisis. And President Trump says it himself. He says that Vladimir Putin and himself had to keep very cool during those very tense moments when Vladimir Putin and the Russian state were basically accused of interfering in our democratic process and what they were trying to accuse President Trump on. We fought back, Mr. Mayor. You fought back. President Trump fought back. Cool heads prevailed, and now we're seeing the fruits of those efforts, and we're hopefully going to have peace around the world as a result.
George, you have so many books, you've written books, you have so many books you can write. Sometime you should write a book. It would be sort of a fanciful one. What would have happened in terms of the progress of America, Chinese, and Russian relations, because they intertwine with each other, had Trump been able to act freely, just from his own good instincts? I really do think the country was harmed even more than we'll ever know by these traitors.
Yeah, Mr. Mayor, I think, you would have seen two very important changes that would have never happened. I don't think we would have ever had the war start between Russia and Ukraine. Vladimir Putin himself is on the record of saying that if President Trump had, ascended to the Oval Office during the last 4 years, we would have never had this war. And secondly, and probably equally as important for the long term, we wouldn't have this very close relationship between Russia and China that we now have. President Trump, Kissinger, Nixon, successful presidents and their teams have always tried to separate China and Russia. But what did Biden do? He actually allowed them to ossify their relationship and invade Ukraine. It was one of the most disastrous 4 years that the United States and the world has ever seen. Millions of people have unfortunately died as a direct result. China was able to become stronger than ever. They attempted to even prevent the United States dollar from being a reserve currency with this whole BRICS system that China and Russia and Iran and other countries were coming together and colluding about. President Trump stopped all that, Mr. Mayor, and he doesn't get enough credit in the mainstream media, but I know the American people understand it.
Well, George, you always have absolutely tremendous insights. And I'm always tempted to go back and talk about what happened to you. But that doesn't take advantage of how brilliant you are on what's going on now. And I really hope you're back with us very, very soon. Those were very, very precise and very good insights that many people wouldn't have because, well, and among other things, it's been forged in fire. Well, God bless you, and my love to your family.
Thanks so much, Mr. Mayor. Thank you very much.
Isn't it amazing the talent that Donald Trump is able to bring around him? I mean, for 4 years, I couldn't put anybody on television because they couldn't put together two sentences like George can from the Biden administration. You listen to Jake Sullivan, he was on this weekend. It was like one bit of bullshit after another. Yeah, I mean, Jake Sullivan is so dopey. You know, is his wife a congresswoman up here? Ted? Yeah, she's a congresswoman in what used to be a Republican district. New Hampshire. I love you people. I've fallen in love with my two new states, Florida and New Hampshire. You people here in New Hampshire are more conservative than the people in Florida. And Florida's more Republican. I don't know what it is. I don't know. You know what I think it is? I think Trump's personality works in Florida better than New Hampshire. You know, Trump is in New York and Florida, not politically, but New York and Florida emotionally, personality are the same. You know who are very much the same? You would never think it. New York, Florida, you would think. I want you to give me another state that is very close to Florida. And when they meet each other, they become good friends.
Now, different parts of Florida. You're probably thinking more South Florida.
South Florida, yeah.
What's like South Florida?
No, what's like New York, like South Florida is where New Yorkers are just going to fit right in and they're going to make good friends with the people all around them. It's really simple.
I said Florida.
New Jersey.
No, well, New Jersey is New York. That's like, making friends with your uncle.
How about Boston? Oh, sorry. You're offended by that, Chad. Sorry.
Yankees and the Red Sox? They can't get over that. I do. I love Boston.
Philly. There's a lot of Philadelphia people in South Florida.
This is Philadelphia.
Yeah.
I only know New York and Florida. Those are like
Texas. I'm going to tell you why Texas. Texas has the same arrogance New Yorkers have, and it's an arrogance that's really a bit of a joke, a bit of a lighter way of dealing with life, and it's partially true. There's both a real pride, but it's not at the point where they want to fight with you about it. You know, they're not.
Yeah.
In Philadelphia, they want to fight with you about it.
a rugged individual.
In Philadelphia, they're insecure about it, so they want to fight with you about it. Boston used to always be insecure until they won a World Series, and it helped. The Boston-New York relationship is much better now since they won a World Series. But New York, Texas,
I agree.
they both brag about their cities, and then they start laughing because they realize how childish and silly it is.
Yeah.
But they both have that same, and then they realize what that ties them back to is a love of America. Now, I don't know about all these new liberals in New York. Those are people that don't belong. I mean, they are in Austin. Austin, Texas has a lot of New York shits in it. I mean, they got a lot of New York, let's smoke dope. And
It's almost like they're blinded by self-hatred or something. It's very odd. It's very
do you think that people who take dope like that are self-destructive, that there's a psychological self-destructive? Well, I guess if they're smart enough to reflect on it, there is. Aren't there some that are just drawn into the addiction of it, and it's unfortunate?
I don't know.
I think that's true. I mean, you can't get. You have to be hard on the solution to it. You can't. I learned this from my ex-wife. You can't be hard on the individuals because you don't know what's driving them to it. Some could have avoided it, and they're just narcissists. Some have horrible things that happen to them where they can't avoid it. And there are ways of getting them off it no matter what. But I am extremely sympathetic to the drug user. Sorry. If they commit a serious crime and hurt somebody, then they have to be contained because we can't take the risk again. But I feel bad if we have to do that. But which then gives me tremendous animosity to the drug dealer.
Well, yeah, you have to focus on who's bringing it, making it accessible to them. They should be an accessory.
So they did an analysis of the drug dealers that Biden or that the auto pen pardoned. The auto pen pardoned something like 2,400 people at the very end, none of whom Biden knew. Like, you think Biden could have stayed awake through Jack Max, pardon. Mary Smith, pardon. Arnold Jones, pardon. Jeffrey Johnson, pardon. I mean, do that 2,400 times.
Yeah. Who the hell is going So bizarre.
Right?
Yeah, it's so dishonest.
So they sold that as these were like excesses of his 1994 act of people who were in possession of drugs going to jail for 20 years. Well, the analysis that was done, not a single person was in jail for drug possession that he pardoned. They were all there for selling it. And many of them were multiple drug sellers. So they offered marijuana, but they sold cocaine and heroin and fentanyl. That's who the bum in the White House put on the streets because the Democratic Party, please believe me, is too corrupt to exist anymore in this country. I am not arguing for a single party system. I'm arguing for a two-party system, but reform that party. We don't have room for an organized criminal party that's a RICO case. They are worse than the mafia in the damage they do to this country. Someone just pointed out to us, I think George in the interview, these people in Ukraine wouldn't be dead. You know, it is true. I'm sure that Putin, to some extent, is flattering Trump when he says there wouldn't be a war if it wasn't for you. But, you know, we don't need Putin for that. Of course, we know there wouldn't be a war. Why do we know there wouldn't be a war? Because there wasn't a war. Putin can't resist a war. Bush, Obama, Biden. Who's missing? Ooh, Trump. We don't need him. I felt like saying, if I were a reporter, we really don't need that.
Right.
With all due respect to you as a master killer, we have no, because that's what I respect you for most. That's the best of your profession is how you kill people. But the only stupid thing is, why do you always use poison? Then we know it's you.
What?
I know, Putin, you think you're so freaking smart. But, you know, if you keep using the same thing, we're going to figure out who did it. Even Inspector Clouseau could do it. In fact, we should do a movie, make a remake of the Peter Sellers Inspector Clouseau movies, trying to figure out if Vladimir Putin poisoned all those people that were poisoned. It'll turn out it's all the same poison with his signature on it.
Well, that and people falling off of third-story balconies or fourth-story balconies. That's another one.
Well, that could be because you were poisoned. That's the way Abe Rellis got it at the Blue Moon Hotel in Coney Island, which I showed you.
You showed me.
Right across the street from Nathan's. If you're in New York now, and it's a nice night, and you're close by, take a ride out to Nathan's, go get a hot dog, look across the street, and if you look at the top floor, right above the awning, you'll see a building. Oh, many years ago in the 1920s, a man named Abe Rellis came. I guess he thought he was Superman, and he flew out because the next day he was going to testify against the mafia. And the cops, like the security guards, many years later at the MCC for Mr. Epstein, they fell asleep.
They didn't see it.
I mean, this excuse goes back to Jesus rising from the dead, right? The Roman guards. Boy. Now, we did talk about the driver's licenses and that problem, right?
Yep.
I mean, why do we give driver's licenses to illegals first of all, why do we give them at all? Number two, if we're going to give them, why don't they take driving tests? Why do they get driving? No, I'm a legal American citizen. You got to take a driving test, right?
And if they don't, it's no surprise.
So how do we know if they come from Bubadakabat land, where they never learned to speak, they never learned to eat utensils? So they can't even use knives and forks, much less drive a car. And they still eat animals. Oh, no, they don't. They don't eat animals. That's racist. They do not eat animals. Yeah. You know how big the dog eating industry is in China? I know you love Fido. They like Fido medium rare. We're in a different level of civilization. We do not want to admit that our civilization is superior. What is wrong with that? If you don't do it if you do that in an academic, charitable way. If I see a poor person, right? And I say, I want to help that poor person because I've had so many more benefits in life. Am I acting arrogant, or am I acting with love, with charity, based on the teachings of Jesus Christ and any other good moral leader? And that's the way we should do it in America. We are superior. It doesn't entitle us to push people around. Instead, it has just the opposite impact if we're superior. It puts an obligation on us to help more.
Yes.
That's all. That's what you teach your children, so that you keep the American exceptionalism, which is true, and you turn it into what it should be. If it is exceptionalism, then it's going to want to share it with the rest of the world. So now we got to start, I think, on no driver's licenses for illegals. I do think, believe it or not, boys and girls, I do believe you'd have a shot at a federal law. I'll tell you how. So first, driving is a matter of state and federal law. It's one of those things, if we get into the separation of powers, you would say is reserved to the states as a local power, and the federal government shouldn't interfere. However, there's an addendum to that, or an overlay to that, which is the Interstate Commerce Clause of the Constitution. The Interstate Commerce Clause of the Constitution allows the Congress and the president to intervene for the good of interstate commerce. Now, that has been abused. It's been abused for the federal government to take over lots of things that have nothing to do with interstate commerce. But if you're living here, Ted, right here where we are, which is just one small part of America, I would say
Great place.
1/3 to half of the people that have cars around us here, drive in interstate commerce.
Right.
Almost impossible not to drive into Maine.
Right, between Maine and
Maine
Massachusetts.
is 5 miles away.
Right.
10 miles away.
And Massachusetts is like 20 miles.
One of the better shopping centers is in Maine. And the people here in New Hampshire have to make a decision. They'll save taxes here, but they have a better shopping center in Maine. Many of the people here, of course, have relatives in other parts of, like in Boston. A lot of them come from Boston. So the drive to Boston is 1 hour and 10 minutes.
Yeah, give or take.
It is not unusual for them to drive from here. Some work in Boston.
Absolutely.
Even more go to dinner in Boston. They go to Red Sox games. They go to Patriot games.
Yeah, they're all Patriots and Pats fans and Red Sox fans.
There you go. So they're driving in interstate commerce all the time. People in New York drive in Westchester County, which is a different county in New York, but they drive in New Jersey all the time. They drive in Connecticut all the time. Those are easy. That's as easy as driving in New York City virtually. And then, of course, New Yorkers will drive to Washington. They'll drive to Boston. I'm saying that many, many drivers probably have routinely drive in interstate commerce. The minute that happens, your state cannot make all of the rules because your state's rules affect other states. You see, if you said, here's a license, you can only drive in New Jersey. New Jersey can make any damn rules it wanted. But the minute it's an interstate license, which they all are, now New Jersey's affecting New York and Pennsylvania and vice versa. So to allow people to drive who haven't had a duly certified test from a particular state puts all the other states they're in jeopardy. And now the federal government can step in and say, if it doesn't have a rule, I can't imagine there's a rule that doesn't say that you can have different standards for licenses, but in order to drive on an interstate highway, you have to have a state license. I'm sure it says that. So then the state should be required. A license doesn't mean anything if you haven't had a test. I mean, suppose California decided to give licenses to 7-year-olds who want to change their sex.
Yeah.
I mean, that would be a violation of interstate commerce clause.
They were planning on doing
Oh yeah, but only to them, to encourage them to change their sex. That's why I suggest it. So I hope to see some federal legislation. You know, I've forgotten the town. I'm sorry I did. But over the election campaign, there was a town, Aurora. See, boy, my memory never fails me. Aurora, Ohio, I believe. Aurora, Ohio was alleged to have Haitians there who were eating cats.
Yeah.
Do you remember? And there was a town, but it wasn't there was a video and there was a town. And there was something having to do with a woman who appears to be admitting that she ate a cat, a Haitian woman.
Right.
But it wasn't Aurora, it was like 40 or 50 miles away.
Well, I remember you and I, we got on the internet once, and we found a guy only on the radio.
I know, we found a guy who said it goes on in Aurora,
It happens all the time.
and we got him on TV.
And
But I'm gonna say they never could prove it happened there. But here's what happened. So the governor refused to call out the National Guard. 3 days later, he called out the National Guard. Do you know why? You know why? Because the town was like a dangerous, deadly bumper cars.
oh yes, I remember
People were getting killed left and right with cars coming up on the sidewalk, going into buildings, and the famous one that had the whole town really upset because it was after Christmas, was during the Christmas holidays, if not on Christmas Day. A very, very beloved person in the town, a lovely young lady, young woman, was putting out her garbage for the collection the next day. And this car came all across the divide and right up into her driveway and smashed her to heaven. And she wasn't drunk. She just didn't know how to drive. She got a driver's license and she got a car and she just started driving. She was Haitian. And the number of when that came out, when I think Vance originally put it out, when he put it out, they couldn't back up quite all of the animal eating, but it turned out the place was a den of death through crazy driving. But this goes on. And I didn't realize they get their license not like Americans get. They don't take a test. And people, if you know Haiti, people in Haiti don't drive. They're too poor to drive. So now they get a car and they don't even know you're supposed to have lessons. We're talking about people back. Not good for them. What are you doing with them? Taking them into a sophisticated, complicated society. You're probably going to get them a disease that'll kill them. But nobody cares because, as the great columnist Miranda Devine pointed out today, it's all about politics. It's bring them in. It doesn't matter if they kill, spread diseases, smell like hell, and rape your kids. You'll get more votes because they'll get counted in the census, and you'll have more votes in Congress. You'll have more electoral votes. You'll get a bigger share of Medicare and Medicaid. Screw them. They're just a bunch of meaningless human beings. What they really are big money coins. So let's do what the imperialist colonists, who assholes like Obama hate for the wrong reasons, and let's act like them and let's take advantage. They're just meaningless, stupid human beings. Let's take advantage of them. Let's bring them to Aurora, Ohio. Let's not care if they get behind the wheel of a car and take a grandmother away from a family, because it'll help the growth of the evil party of slavery. So a party that never should have been allowed to continue, because it was the party representing the biggest evil in the history of the United States, can go on to represent evil because it has a propensity for it and it hasn't cleaned out the curse on it. With that, we'll take a short break. U.S. Army Major Scott Smiley paid a high price serving our nation. Scott was leading his platoon in Iraq when a blast sent shrapnel through his eyes, leaving him blind and temporarily paralyzed. Scott would become the first blind active duty military officer before medically retiring years later. Thanks to friends like you, the Tunnel to Towers Foundation gave Scott and his family a mortgage-free, specially adapted smart home. Show your support for America's heroes now. Donate $11 a month to Tunnel to Towers at T2T.org.
Are you ready for some action?
I'm ready for action.
Get the Elite TV plan only through the portal, 218 channels, and it's only $69.95 a month,
Wow.
including your free portal.
That's cheaper than everyone else.
Your favorite sports, movies, news,
Wow.
even daytime dramas. We're talking about ESPN, OAN, Newsmax,
Wow.
channels you can't get anymore in certain areas.
Compared to the competition, this is a way better deal.
Endless selection. Not to mention all the free music channels. There's over 700 premium and classic movies all ready to go.
Wow.
Plus, they got catch-up TV that allows you to go back and watch what you've missed or want to watch again. Cut your cable in half and get twice as much for free.
Way more channels for half the cost.
After the first year, the subscription then drops to $57.95 monthly,
Wow.
where you change or upgrade anytime. Go to QUXNow.com and get yours today. Use promo code RUDY. Act fast.
Here we are, pretty much at the beginning of the process here at this pristine, I call it a laboratory. It's not like a factory, it's like a hospital. This is the beginning of the process for roasting. Deep grain, very good quality. Most people don't use this quality. We deal with small farmers because we like to know who we're dealing with. They give us the highest quality, all organic, non-GMO. You should know all Arabica beans, no Robusto, all Arabica. They're going to go into the roaster and it'll get roasted for about 20 minutes or so. Oh my goodness, look at these. My goodness. You're going to want to specially order these. This is what goes into Rudy's coffee.
Doing a lot of the iPhones in India now to satisfy Trump.
And we are back. So, Mayor, I guess as we were talking
Did they advertise Rudy
over
Coffee
the
yet?
break, we've done the Rudy Coffee commercial. Yes.
Get Rudy Coffee. I have to tell them a little story about Rudy Coffee. So when we came up here to from Florida, for some reason we took only 2 bags of Rudy Coffee. We left all the rest in Florida, which we should give out just in case. I think it stays okay for about 6 months if you keep it sealed. Last time it did, but now we had a couple sent up to us. So the first group they sent up to me was all morning coffee, and I like morning coffee, but my favorite is the bold.
Yeah, even in the morning.
But I hadn't had it in about a week because we didn't have it up here, and the morning coffee was so great. I told Maria, I think the morning coffee may be better. She got a little. I think she likes the morning coffee better too. Yeah. She Ted and Stephen like the bold coffee better, or no, Stephen does, and I do. But now I was getting partial to the morning coffee. Yesterday I noticed when they sent up the 4 bags, one of the bags was a bowl bag. And I realized I have 2 morning bags and 1 bowl bag. So I said, I'm going to have to mix. So I mixed this morning. It was fabulous. I made a second pot. I had more coffee today than I've had in who knows how long. I usually try to limit myself to 2 or 3 a day. I must have had about 6 because it was so good. So if I don't go to, if you hear me bouncing around, throwing things, singing, that'll be the reason. Now, this is, I don't know why I'm going to get defensive about this, but they begin, whenever you talk about aliens and illegal aliens, they do this racist, hateful shit on you. And I'm going to tell you something. Of course, it's self-serving as hell. I'm a great barometer for that. I don't have any of that. Honestly, I really am a tough son of a bitch. I don't hate anybody. I don't hate anybody. Even the people who have done me wrong, it's just I get over it. I get over it. I should hate them, but I don't. And it isn't just a psychological process that you should learn, which is, and this is real simple, but if you can just repeat this and sometimes sit down and meditate about it, don't just say it, really think about it. Hating hurts you more. It doesn't do you any good unless you're going to be, the mafia and take revenge, right? It doesn't do you any good. And if you do, you probably go to prison. You don't want to go to prison for somebody else, right? It doesn't do you any good. Hating doesn't do you any good. The fact that you hate somebody doesn't mean there'll be a bad result for them. It could be, unless you go produce it. But I mean, just because you will it, God's not going to listen to prayers like that. I do not suggest praying to God the Father, the Son, of the Holy Spirit the following. Dear God, I have an enemy who cheated me out of money. Please kill him. I don't think that's going to work well for you. I don't think that'll help you. I don't think so. What did he tell you? What did Jesus Christ, who's smarter, would you admit that Jesus Christ is smarter than you? What did Jesus Christ tell you? He told you to forgive. He didn't tell you that for the benefit of them. He told you that for your benefit. All that hatred does is deprive you of being able to perceive reality correctly. It makes you a less, not only not as good a person, it makes you a less capable person. When you make decisions out of hatred, you make bad decisions. When you make decisions having gotten over the irrational part, the parts you can't control, you make much better decisions. So I don't get this hatred thing. I don't get it. I don't get it. And I don't get why conservatives are attacked for it when they're doing things in many cases that are very loving. If I am pointing out how the black community in a certain area, or the black politicians in a certain area, are double-crossing the black kids and letting them get killed because they won't pass legislation that is helpful to saving the kids, legislation that I've proven will save black kids, then I'm doing a good thing. But I can't hate them. I have to feel sorry for them. But we have these aliens coming in, and they are a significant problem. And I have to tell you, this is a very terrible thing to tell you. We're not getting over this problem in 3 months or 6 months, even though we've made enormous progress. This went on for 4 years. And if Miranda Devine is correct, it's 20 million people. I'm gonna go more with 12 to 15. But that's a big problem too. So I really feel compelled to read you examples of it, because the mainstream press either ignores it or denies it. And then it shows you pictures of these really, really nice, extremely sympathetic people who came in illegally. And they're really nice people. Really nice people can come in illegally. After all, there's illegal and there's illegal. Everybody gets parking tickets, but that doesn't mean they're vicious, right? They break the law. People come in because they're starving. doesn't mean they're vicious and whatever. The problem is with the way Biden did it, he invited a disproportionate number of extremely evil people. Doesn't mean that a couple of good people didn't come in. I'll tell you who aren't the good people. The good people are not the 40 MS-13 members arrested it was a day ago in Hempstead, New York. 4 of whom killed, let's see, 5 college age of them, of MS-13, working as part of the sub-gang Locus Salvatrucas, used a machete and knife, and they wounded 6 people during a soccer game in broad daylight at the Kennedy's, at the town's Kennedy Memorial Park last October. That was literally a quarter of a mile from where they play hockey and a quarter of a mile from where President Trump had one of his great rallies that we covered on this show. So that's one group that they arrested. Altogether, they arrested 40 MS-13 attempted murderers, drug dealers, rapists. These people don't commit like shoplifting.
What, Mayor?
They rape, they murder, they torture, they chop heads off.
What, Mayor? Were they around when you were mayor?
No, MS-13 is new. MS-13, Transaragua is a Biden group. They never came in before Biden. MS-13 started coming in under Obama. And they started I remember they started coming in about 12 or 13. The reason I remember was I woke up one morning, I might have been out in the Hamptons, and there was a big article in the paper that a girl was found on the beach in Islip with her head chopped off. And this is a backwater, either middle class, all different levels, middle class, even poor, middle class, upper middle class, rich, and super rich community.
Yeah.
The last 50 miles of Long Island, right? North Shore and South Shore, right?
Wow.
You know it, right?
Well, that's interesting.
It's not like Palm Beach, all rich. Now, Southampton is just one little part of it. Southampton is one little part of it. I mean, before Southampton, there's Bayhampton and Hampton Bays, and those are the ones that are middle class, upper middle class. Then you get to Islip, it can be kind of a little poor. That whole beach, which is as beautiful for everybody. God, you did it just right. The poor guy's got just as nice a beach as the billionaire, and just as great a chance that his house is going to get wiped away by one of your hurricanes.
Right.
In that sense, they become equal. But in any event, it is not, even with the poor population, whatever, it's not a high crime area. To find a body with the head chopped off on the beach, wow. And what it was, and I knew what it was right away, because it's the having had to learn the history of the mafia in great detail. That's what the mafia first did. That's what the Muslims first did. That was a Muhammad tactic. You go into a town and you kill somebody. And you get attention. Muhammad went into a Jewish town. He picked the top 10 elderly Jews. He killed them and threw them into a mass grave. He owned the town. I mean, if you want to study organized crime tactics, you can read the Quran. And yeah, come after me on that, because I know what I'm talking about, and you're a dumb, lying sycophant. You're just a liar if you don't agree with that. That is covering up for murderers. I'm sorry, you got to live with the truth, or we don't live. So that was the beginning of it, and it got worse, a couple more, and it became, to me, extraordinarily important, but the press would never point it out because it would be too helpful to Trump. When Trump announced that he was going to go after the illegal immigrant animals, that's who he was talking about, because that was very close to him. I mean, he would travel back and forth to the Hamptons, particularly when he was running to collect money, and half his friends live out in the Hamptons. And even if he doesn't go, he knows all the stories of the Hamptons. And he certainly went there for when he wasn't running, for charitable fundraisers. And when he was running for he came to the Hamptons way back for me for fundraisers as like the star guest. So he knew the Hamptons. He wasn't part of it, which is one of the reasons he's such a regular guy. He wasn't part of that kind of somewhat phony.
Yeah.
It has some of the Palm Beach phoniness, which he also escaped.
Hollywood.
Yeah. What a regular guy. Well, in any event, they terrorized New York from about 15 on. Now, and it's a little less now than what it used to be because they've moved on. It was like they were just in New York. They got a whole outpost right near here. It's either Lowell or Lawrence, Massachusetts.
That's
I'm getting
right.
Confused.
We've heard about that,
The
of course.
Dominicans
Yeah.
run one. The Dominican gangs run one, which used to be a big crack place, but crack has. So they've had to and MS-13 got into fentanyl much faster. So MS-13 was outdoing them, and they were trying to catch up. But every once in a while, Lowell and Lawrence go at each other. And you think of Lowell, and when I hear Lowell and Lawrence, I think of New England poets or something.
Yeah, you think of like
No,
the
what
Red
we got
Sox
there are
and
two
base.
vicious mobs who deal drugs. And because upper New England is a great source for drugs because it's isolated, like the Ozarks is.
Ah,
I mean,
they come
Kentucky
in.
at one point had the most drug use in the country.
Well, how does it get to New England?
The drug dealers are not at all dumb, and they figure out where they have great markets. They also figure out where the law enforcement is less. So if I, and then this is why Trans-Daragua moved out of Denver into the other towns.
Suburbs.
You have smaller, less competent police departments. I mean, to trace drug dealing requires a little bit of an international network. That's why Commissioner Kelly put representatives in foreign countries. If you
Feliz Navidad. Feliz Navidad.
All right. Anytime we mention
is he up for
Colorado, I got
why
to
is
throw
he
that
up
up.
for re-election?
Good question.
Could we say, vote for me? Let's say I ran. I would say, ladies and gentlemen, I'm Rudy Giuliani. Please vote for me. I'm a normal human being. And then I would play that. And I do say, I don't know if I have to point out to you, I hope I don't, all the benefits of having a normal human being running your state.
Well, our favorite governor, he is term limited, so now we'll be subjected likely to Michael Bennett.
Do you think he was like that before he became governor, or was hanging around in Colorado
Because
and taking in all the marijuana?
That seems like a lifetime affliction to me.
No,
Well,
do you
he's a
think
business. He comes from the business community, right?
Yeah, but he marijuana wasn't like Colorado had beautiful weather. It has the mountains. In fact, I had a police officer who went up into the mountains of Colorado Springs, and he almost had a heart attack from the height. I mean, it's really beautiful.
I know that
air,
from sports.
but
the ball goes farther.
and it'll clean out your lungs. But now it does. Now it's like on the endangered species. You're not allowed to go there. If you know that?
You're right.
At your own peril. You go to Colorado at your own peril, because now that they have these studies about how the THC level in cannabis is up to 90%, just by inhaling it, you might get addicted.
Wow, and Colorado, Denver used to be such a
Denver. I mean, Denver,
people wanted to
nobody
visit
even
there.
talks in Denver. Have you ever tried to order in Denver? Yeah.
Say that again?
I would like to have. I'd like to have a salad before my meal, a Caesar salad.
Yeah, they mumble.
Are you okay?
Who mumbles?
And then you're not even finished. You're not even finished with your order. You're not even finished with your order, and they walk off. They just go,
Yeah.
they go, come back. And then the guy comes over and says,
Where is this? This is Denver?
Denver. She'll be okay in a little while. Don't worry. It just takes a little longer. So I guess they go, and then they send her back out.
You must have had an experience.
Also, if you're in a job where they test you for drugs, don't go to Colorado. It might not affect me because I have so little hair, but it might even, a little hair might be enough. So I went to Denver, Colorado, and had dinner last night. And I had a job where they tested me for marijuana 2 days later. They'd say I was using marijuana because it would be in my hair. And that's the way they test for marijuana.
De Blasio's security detail.
De Blasio never got
is.
tested. Nor were his cops tested because
They were
Bratton
exempted
caved,
from the
because
test.
Bratton caved in, which he will lie about. So they arrested 40 MS-13 people on Long Island. Nobody like Long Island, which is one of my prior homes, is cooperating with ICE better than they are. Bruce Blakeman, the great super county executive of Nassau County, who after Elise Stefanik will be the governor, I think she should make him lieutenant governor. I do. Who's that? Bruce Blakeman.
Bruce Blakeman. That's right. He had a press conference today. Maybe we can play.
I think she
from
should
that.
make him lieutenant governor, and after she straightens out the state for 2 years, Trumpy should make her UN ambassador like she wanted to be, and then Blakeman can take over. There's my.
There we go. Yeah, Blakeman's not. He's not running. Oh yeah.
You have
so
no
Stefanik's
idea how
running.
good a county executive Blakeman is. We'll spend time on it now that his election is coming up in November. But not that we have that many Nassau people, but we're going to advertise for Nassau people so we can have an effect on the election. And you'll get a lot of information about Nassau County because I know it better than most people. Not as well as I know New York City. Miranda Devine, I don't know. She must have we got to call Miranda tomorrow and find out how many people work for her, Ted.
Right.
She, first of all, on the election and Trump, she's 100%. So detailed. But now she's got a great story. And the story is about the census hoax. And it is fabulous. It's very well researched. It's brilliant. It makes all the sense in the world. And it's really the deeper part of what they're doing with redistricting and gerrymandering. So I remember, and I was going to ask you earlier, and then of course I forgot to try to dig up. But we'll get it for tomorrow night. There's a New York City congresswoman or council member, or they're all the same because they all speak terrible English, so you can't understand them. Oh, Congresswoman just threatened to pull out of the Congress for good and to return to Mubidaba, where she comes from. Oh, where the hell is Mubidaba? So I would like to get a piece. It's a year ago, and this dummy, because they are dummies, admits that she she doesn't think that illegal immigration is very good, like for the black community. That's what she says. And then she says, but I have to be for it because it ups my numbers in my district. Meaning they counted for redistricting. And therefore it protects her district. Otherwise, her district could lose population. She might get redistricted into like a white district or into a non-brainwashed district. If it take one look at her and say, Jesus, the poor woman needs rehabilitation. You know? So there's no doubt that this is at the core. I mean, she admitted the motive. And I was hoping when I read Miranda's column that she had done the work of finding her, but she didn't. We got to find her. She was on quite a bit. They used her on Newsmax quite a bit. Ted, it's possible we used her. I think she's from Brooklyn, and I think she's a local representative. And what they do is, no matter what, they register them to vote. And one of the ways you want to know, why do they give them the driver's licenses, right? Why should they give them drivers if they can't drive? Because we don't have a universal ID card, and there's no way to identify them. They get registered on the driver's license because the driver's license doesn't indicate whether you're a citizen or not. It doesn't indicate your legal status in the United States. And the lazy or Democrat crooked registrar doesn't give a shit. He's got an identification. There you are.
So if they don't pressure you, they'll vote for us.
Yeah, and they help you do it. They do thousands of them. And now what does that do? If they're also included in the census, it changes the congressional delegations. If you were to straighten that out, the Congress would have about 20 more Republicans. If you were to do it just based on citizens who can vote, not on illegals. And that's what Trump wants to do for the 30 election. Also, Mr. Slick here wants to do a redistricting, a gerrymandering. Again, they've already gerrymandered it, and it's supposed to stay for 10 years. But he wants to do it again before the next election. Never going to get it done, I don't think, because he's got to get a proposition passed by the state. And the state, including the Democrats, oppose constant redistricting. And he's got Schwarzenegger against him on that. So he may not get that passed. Here's the real problem he's facing. In about 3 years, when Trump passes that bill, which he will by now, and they take out the illegals, you'll see states end up with a gain of 2, 3, 4, 5 Republicans. This country is, in fact, conservative. And if you take out California and New York, the majority vote is conservative. So the majority vote in those states outside of California and New York is heavily Republican. Now, what they do with California and New York is they end up with 85% of the congressmen being a Democrat, even though 45% of the vote is Republican. Now, if you ever did away with that, we would be behind in those places, but not by those extraordinary numbers. Then we'd be ahead by another 10% in the other places, or 20. We'd have like a 50-vote majority in the House. And that reflects the nature of the country. On a local basis, when people vote locally, they're much more conservative.
It's a Herculean task that the news media takes on in convincing the whole world that this bull crap is real.
Yeah, but they don't. They protect it all.
Right. It's true. The truth is that conservatism is dominant in this country. You know, I mean, if it's not conservative, whatever you want that makes you feel good. How about just Americanism?
We're going to take over.
Right?
I have no doubt we're taking over. MSNBC is now going to be known as Ms. Now because they're breaking up with NBC is finally getting rid of them. They're finally getting rid of Rachel Madcow. Listen tonight for her 1 hour on television this week, for which she's being paid $14 million or $40 million. $40 million on Ms. Now, Rachel Madcow. I'm Rachel Madcow. Donald Trump is a pathetic mass murderer, and tonight I will present evidence from Congressman or Senator Swalwell of eyewitnesses of his murders. Trump murders. We'll be right back in 2 weeks because that's all the money we have for today.
say something about that brand. They obviously,
This is Rachel Madcow for Ms. Now. I would like to thank our 4 viewers for listening in to us. Mom?
so they're changing their name. This will be their new logo.
People don't like her.
Cruel.
Yeah.
This is their new logo. Some people are suggesting they should make it this.
What's that? My,
BS now.
what is SOURED?
Soured.
Sour?
So
My
this is the actual new logo, right?
Please pronounce that for me. SOUR. Source? My source.
This is the real one. And then some people have suggested they switch it to this.
What do they want? That want it to be that?
BS now.
So that they put in those other things to
Yeah.
fix it?
My soured.
Oh, BS instead of MS.
Yeah. My soured news opinion. They're always negative.
Well,
on
what does
Trump.
the B stand for?
BS?
Oh,
Bull. That's a joke.
this is a joke.
Yeah, this is the real one. Here's the real one. This is their new logo coming out by the end of the
MS
year.
now. So
And-
you think that's a takeoff on Ms., right?
Yeah.
So it's all for women.
Yeah, well, I think it's a takeoff of Microsoft. So, originally when it came out, it was conjunction between
Oh,
Microsoft
I thought it was like
and NBC.
Ms.,
Yeah.
Ms. Magazine and.
No,
Ms. this and Ms. that.
MSNBC,
But I think they're
Microsoft.
against Ms. Ms. isn't like a hard enough woman.
I think it's Mrs.
Isn't Mad Cow like a tough one? Like a tough.
Yeah.
Like a diesel dyke.
Yeah.
Be careful.
Off mic.
Even we have to be careful on certain things.
Yeah. Sorry.
So
It's just a saying.
So we'll see. President Trump has been nominated for the Nobel Peace Prize officially.
Good.
So I'd like to see that. We have it here on the
How he doesn't win it, I don't know.
here on the board.
That's good.
I'd like to see him get that.
I do not know how he doesn't win it in a landslide, in a damn landslide, my friend. Right?
Right. I mean, Obama got it. I
That's
mean, they
what it
gave it to
should be. It
Obama 5 days after he got elected president.
Oh, the Obama thing was a complete fix.
And then he went on to do nothing but cause divisions,
It was a
especially among the
complete
races. He was the
and
biggest
wars.
race baiter.
and war. He
And
caused-
war, internationally and
He
domestically.
caused wars.
ISIS, the rise of ISIS.
Want to look at the
Syria.
hurricane?
So here we got a map of the upcoming hurricane.
Everybody in the press is dying for a hurricane.
yeah,
Well,
something to get
not,
Trump
not,
off.
not
of
the
it.
political press, because political press, it interrupts. But I remember in New York with the local press, they were always loving a hurricane. And I had a couple of really bad ones, mostly bad snow. That was my thing. Was every other year we set a record for snow. And then the next year we had no snow. It was like schizophrenic. So we prepare our budget for lots of snow, and we'd end up with a surplus.
Yes.
And then the next year we'd go, and then we'd have no money. So then we decided to do a revolving fund. If we didn't use the money on snow that year, we put it in a fund because we knew we'd eventually have to use it.
You need it for something. Yeah. Yeah.
Like that's called an intelligent Republican way to govern,
Gee, imagine that.
as opposed to, oh, when it snows, we'll get the money out of the trees. Gee, Ramdami, you can get money from trees, but not when it's snowing. Oh, I didn't know that. I'll go tell everyone that. Freaking idiot. So there's the. Do you think people can? Now I want to know, Ted. I know all these meteorologists and who never get anything right, like political prognosis. Look at the eye. They really make it look like an eye so you can follow it. That is good. I will say that's good. That's the eye of the storm. You can see right in the center there, and they make it look like an eye. It doesn't necessarily look like that. They're making it look like that. And it goes around and it sort of exacerbates things in certain places.
Right.
Not necessarily, by the way, when they say, oh, the eye of the storm hit Hatteras, doesn't mean that was the worst. The eye of the storm can be deceptive. It doesn't have to be the worst winds. If you see the way it operates in a circular fashion. So it's in it. It's what you're seeing. What you're seeing that it's flipping out. That's the worst of it. It's energizing all of that. You see that? See? And that's not fire, by the way. It's just light.
It's a heat map.
There you go. So here's a long-term one that we can look at right here.
Okay. This is right now in.
So where's that?
That's live in North Carolina right now.
Yeah, we would be at the beach right now, right?
Yeah. So this is starting to make landfall in North Carolina.
We'd be at the beach seeing what it was doing in Palm Beach. Remember when we did that last year? We got some pretty good shots. Well, that's Cape Hatteras?
Cape Hatteras, North Carolina.
Yeah, that's where it's going to hit.
According
to these all change. So this is about 3 hours old. According to this, it's going to hit. It's not going to hit North Carolina. It's going to come by out there in the ocean in North Carolina.
Yeah.
And that'll be around a Wednesday night. So that'll be when we're on tomorrow night into Thursday. You're feeling it all the way from the Bahamas there right now. And then it's gonna come really close to both Hatteras, the Outer Banks and Cape Hatteras, but it's not going to hit land, which is good and bad. Not good because if it doesn't hit land, it probably isn't going to do that much damage. But sometimes when it hits land, it pshoo, and what it does do is it bodes poorly for the states beyond it, unless it stays out over the ocean, which it is predicted to do, in which case it will just have like secondary effects. If it should change its mind, which it does, and put on my map, Ted.
Yep.
And this will give you, they do a good job of telling you just when, okay? So today is Tuesday, we all agree, right? So at 1:30 p.m. Today, or Tuesday at a.m., at 130 miles per hour, it was down there in the Bahamas, okay? And then by now it's moving up. So you can see it's moving up to Wednesday, tomorrow morning. So tomorrow morning when you wake up, it's going to be at 120 miles an hour. Going to be about 100 miles out to sea, I would say. And it's going to be equivalent to northern Florida. So Florida, including our house, Ted, what did it say there? Tuesday a.m. Probably passed there already. I'm going to say it probably passed Palm Beach already, but way out to sea. You see how far it is? There are even islands in between from Palm Beach. So now it's probably about halfway up Florida, headed for the north of Florida for tomorrow morning at sea. Then it's going to come in a little closer to Charleston. And a little about the closest it's going to get, it seems to me, if we're watching that carefully, is at Cape Hatteras. You see the shorter amount of water between the red and the Cape Hatteras Thursday so tomorrow morning when we wake up, it'll be in North Florida. And all day tomorrow, it'll be traveling from North Florida through Georgia, South Carolina, and North Carolina in a direction going away from them. It will then end up, just because of the vagaries of geography, on the morning of Thursday, right off Cape Hatteras, and that's the closest it gets. And then it's going to make a turn out to sea. Good news, not going to hit the land. Bad news, it's going to track the East Coast. So look at that. It'll be by Friday, it'll be off here. By Friday, but further out to sea. You see Portland? Portland, Maine? We're right below that, right? So we figure Thursday night. Ooh, that's going to be a quick trip, Ted. Look at Thursday. Look at Thursday AM to Friday AM. And in one day, it's going to move from Cape Hatteras to off New England. That they may be a little bit, and then we'll be finished with it on Saturday. Saturday, it'll be affecting Canada. Now, how accurate is that? What chance is there for that to change? I never know that. Because these people act more like magicians than scientists.
Yeah, they certainly do.
The meteorologists, because it's all because they're cowards.
Yeah, they don't want to be
They're
wrong.
all afraid. They're all afraid they're going to be held. Nobody wants to be held accountable.
Well,
It's like the worst thing in the world. The worst thing in the world is to be held
I
accountable.
always thought that Storm
Right.
Sandy was an amazing spectacle of nature. Remember the thing was going, and then all of a sudden it went.
Well, we'll get the
Yeah. These things are predictable.
So
you see the way they're going, like, can
Oh,
they
it's a
see me doing it?
vortex.
They're going like this. But when you come out of one of those spins, you don't know how it's going to come out.
It's like a baseball throwing a curveball.
Something can get like jammed up in the spin, and then it comes out this way instead of that way.
Well, as of 5 p.m. this evening, there's been some evacuation orders and a state of emergency declared in 2 counties in North Carolina. It's now about 600 miles off the coast of Cape Hatteras, North Carolina. That was a few hours ago, so now it's getting closer. But as you saw the map with the mayor, it does appear to be, it'll eventually tail off and not make landfall.
I'm an
Maximum
amateur,
sustained winds 105.
I'm an amateur hurricane analyst, but I know a little more about it than usual. First of all, I've always was interested in them, and second, as the mayor, you had to keep on top of them. Although I must say, in New York, snowfall is my real expertise. I would hire myself out as an expert on snowfall for any city that doesn't know how to get rid of it quickly. 'Cause I know how to get rid of it quickly. It's a military type action. And unfortunately, my greatest general has died, but I could train another general. I had a general, and if you don't believe me, I'm going to get you magazines from back in 1994, 95, when we were on the front page of national magazines and how well we were reducing snow. And I had a head of sanitation who was Admiral Nimitz.
Oh, literally an admiral.
I named him Admiral Nimitz. And because of the way he handled the Battle of Midway, which was very similar to the biggest mistake made in New York City snow collection by my predecessor, John Lindsay. And Peter Powers and I studied it and made up rules. And I'm going to tell you how good we were. I hate to brag about ourselves, but I am. And Peter is gone, and Peter helped me with this so much. First big snowfall we had, George Pataki and I were on Saturday Night Live because we had done such a good job of collecting the snow in New York, and the rest of the Northeast was still snowed in after 5 days. They put us on Saturday Night Live to open the show because we had been getting such great publicity. That's when Republicans could get good publicity for cleaning up the snow and nobody else could. He had a great program too. And we began by saying, we had a little talk, George, you did a great job of helping me with the snow. He said, Mayor, it's exceptional. You helped me in Northern New York, and your people are really just so good. I said, well, I'm really glad we were able to deliver for the people. And he said, I'm really glad we were too. And then one of us had to go first. I forget who. Probably me. I went first. And I said, live from New York. And then Pataki looks at me and goes, live from New York City. I look at George and I say, George, come on. Live from New York.
That's good. That's good. Yeah.
No, he said live from New York State.
Did
I say New York State?
Yeah,
No,
I
he
got
said New York State.
He said New York State.
Live from New York. And he said,
Live from New York State.
live from New York State.
Yeah.
I said, oh, George, Live from New York.
City. Exactly. That's funny. But that's when
they weren't left-wing sick.
Right.
That's when they hadn't turned against the United States. I don't know. I mean, they're good people, and they don't hate the United States. I know they don't, but they are very, very Hollywood influenced, and they are very much out of that hard way. Smart people, but not philosophical or religious people, and therefore very, very hard for them to figure their way out of a box. Yes. You know, if you're very, very smart, but you don't have religion and you don't have great ideology, it's very, very hard for you to figure your way out of a box. You get easily boxed in because you're insecure. You're not sure of yourself. I mean, okay, all you atheists can get angry at me, but you are permanently insecure if you don't believe in God. And it leads you to lots of things like communism. Just a simple fact. I can't prove that. That's part of faith. I think I can prove it. I can prove it on a different proposition, which I don't argue because I don't think people should be religious for this reason, but maybe I do. So I have come up with this great idea, great thought, and I haven't taken from anyone, so I can't quote it. And here's what I believe. I believe it is better for people who don't believe in God that the rest of the world believe in God. Because I think it is demonstrably clear, until we come up with a different paradigm, and we won't, people act better when they believe in God. Now you say to yourself, oh, what about the Crusades? But what about the people who were against the Crusades? Would the Crusades have ever stopped if it wasn't for people that believed in God and said, this is really absurd. All they'd have to do is go read their Bible and figure out why the Crusades was inconsistent with their religion, and therefore they stopped it. Now, why have the Muslims not stopped jihad? You know any crusaders anymore going off to Jerusalem? Don Quixote, maybe, huh? You know any Muslims trying to create a caliphate? Oh, yeah, we have a whole country doing that. We got a whole group in about 10 different countries trying to do. Oh, gosh, last year we had about 10,000 murders in order to do that. Oh, yeah, we're wiping out all the Christians in Africa in order to do that, not to mention the Jews. So what's the difference? The difference is that for Christians, the idea of conquest by death is illegitimate. It's banned. It's a sin. It will, if you believe that and stick to it, based on Orthodox Christianity, and by that I mean that in a generic sense, you go straight to hell. Switch. If you're a Muslim and you believe in death to spread the religion, because people will not accept reasonable offers to either convert or to pay tribute, then you will go to, and you don't kill as a result of that. I don't know if you're punished, but you're certainly not rewarded. But if you do kill, you are a hero. And you're a hero in life, and you are given the best places in paradise with numerous beautiful women. Do you see a distinction between those two religions? And what impact they're going to have on the morality of people who believe in it or who don't believe in it, but the core of their society is based on principles that emerged from them. What?
It's kind of a form of mass formation.
Yeah. And it is, I think, beyond human capability to develop a really thorough moral system that is really effective and hard without belief in God. And then it can be developed with belief in God and translated. So most of the laws that we have come from God. We think they come from state legislatures, but let's think of what they are, the main ones, the ones we don't pay attention to anymore. Ones we pay attention to now are these woke laws, the new laws. You know, thou shalt have all the marijuana thou wants. Or thou shalt be able to kill someone anytime they would like to die. Or thou shalt be able to kill a 4-month baby in the womb if it makes you uncomfortable and disadvantages you in any way and creates any difficulty for poor little you, because you're the most important thing, not that baby. Whoever said that? Whoever said you're the most important thing in the universe? Me or you? Where did that philosophy come from? Where did that narcissistic philosophy come from? That you're the most important thing in the universe. What, do you need that in order to get up in the morning because you're a little shit weakling? I don't need that. I don't need to think I'm the most important. I figure I'm pretty important, but not the most important. I don't have to be the most important. I need other people to help me on everything. Did we cover the Gen Z changes in words on this show? Okay. So I have to show you how stupid this uneducated group of people are. And you look at the scores they get. Oh my God, Ted, we're going to be, you and I are going to have to move to a smart country. Gen Z and Gen Alpha. What's Gen Alpha, by the way? Why do we ever do this? When do we ever start this Gen Z and this? I don't even know. I can't even, we have all these people that come to us and say, we can cover the Gen Z people. And I say, who there for they?
I can't honor it by
A lot of young people are really big on this Gen Z research. And
I think some of them are virtue signaling. I think there's a portion of society that just virtue signals their way.
talk in a microphone. I hope they can hear you.
I think it's a big form of a virtue signal. You know, a big part of it is.
Come on, Ted looks good. Can't we show him?
Yeah, I gotta get up.
Oh God, if you have to get up, that's really tough. You know, Ted is 97 years old.
Ted's got a good haircut.
Very, very hard for him to get up. We'll get him a little walker.
Look at that haircut on Ted, huh?
Ted, you look good.
Right? He needed that.
He doesn't look.
Oh yeah, well, I mean, I don't have to be in the shop. How are you, everybody?
See, we had gotten a couple of complaints about Ted because we put him on, and then we get the girls who come. Is he married? And we used to get a lot. Now I say I don't want to meet him unless he cuts his hair. So here's a word, ladies and gentlemen. See if you know it. Skibidi. S-K-I-B-I-D-I. S-K-I-B-I-D-I. Skibidi.
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 What does it mean?
Cool. Hey, you're skibidi. Or bad. Now, those are almost mutually exclusive.
Yeah.
It's like if evil meant good or bad.
It suggests.
This is because Gen Z is stupid. They weren't educated properly.
Right.
Half of them can't tell you who the president was. First president. They're uneducated morons who feel self-entitled and geniuses. And it's terrible. The worst thing to be is uninformed, uneducated, and stupid and not know it.
And they speak with marbles in their mouth as well.
And actually think that your opinion is worth the same as a well-informed person.
Yeah.
You got to learn from the well-informed person. You got to sit at their feet. Like all the kids of Athens sat at Socrates' feet.
Or children to their parents.
The minute you develop the know-it-all concept, you're finished. I don't care if you really are a know-it-all and you're a genius, but you're not. Or you're a dumb idiot who says skibidi. And you want to make up new words. You can make up new words, sweetheart, when you learn all the words. Let me give you a vocabulary test. And if you score 99, you can make up new words. Okay? And then they have another one. This is easier. Delulu. That means delusional. Okay.
How about say the word?
Cute. Yeah. My mom is Delulu. That's who they usually apply it to, probably. All the girls, because they all hate their mothers, right?
Yes, they do.
That's kind of sick, isn't it? Hate your mother.
Yes, it is.
Who the hell loves you more than your mother? I don't remember going through a phase of hating my mother.
And that's kind of like what we're getting down to here.
Go through a phase, or I don't remember my cousins who were female going through a stage of hating their mothers.
Mayor, you hit that right on the head. I'm telling you. It's amazing to me that it escapes such a large portion of society. They don't see it coming. I mean, how much do they need to see to know something is very afoul? And, a family doesn't even have a peaceful lifestyle anymore.
So this comes from the new words they've accepted in the Cambridge Dictionary, of which they have accepted 6,000 new words.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
I am not suggesting the 6,000 are like skibibby or tradwife, but tradwife is like an abbreviation. I got that one. It's traditional wife. I hate to wonder what the definition of it is. Yeah. Like, she'll refrain having sex until she's 14 or something like that. Delulu, tradwife.
What else you got on there?
So some people think this is very, very good. And the Cambridge Dictionary just picks the new words that they think have lasting power. I do not think skibidi has lasting power. Or you're going to have to come up with a decision.
It might be dead already.
You got to figure out what the decision. It either means cool or it means bad. Unless it means bad cool. Snackable. That's not even. I mean, that's like work spouse. Well, that's what the first stepmother called that idiot who took the Fifth Amendment for her. The little shrimp idiot who they call Rasputin. Banal. His name was Banal. Yes. He was the first stepmother's work spouse. Now, does that have a sexual connotation? I only ask because it says work spouse, and you have workplace sex. I mean, come on. We've had workplace sex since
the beginning of time.
Since Neanderthal man.
Yes.
Oh, they're gonna wipe it out.
Sex doesn't discriminate.
Whenever I would hear, when I was U.S. attorney dealing with real crimes, they come into me with 5 murders in a day, or somebody come in and say, "Oh my God, so and so, the head of this company is having an affair with the secretary, and he testified under oath with the SEC, and we should prosecute him." I said, yeah. That's got to be the first time in American history where a boss had sex with his underling.
Right.
I bet that never happened before, and it will never happen again.
Yeah, big uproar.
And they looked at me, because I was the U.S. attorney, and we weren't that different in age, but they sort of looked up to me. Like I was serious. Like I was being the only ones who understood it were my contemporaries. They would laugh their heads off. Oh, this is so unusual.
Yeah.
Are you telling me that a subordinate was having sex with a beautiful woman who worked for him? Oh my God. Yeah. I tell you what.
It's groundbreaking.
That never happened before.
Yeah.
That never, ever happened before. And that is so inconsistent with normal human instincts. Unfortunately, there's not capital punishment for it. But if there was, it would have wiped it out a long time ago. And only the smart ones got the sarcasm,
Yeah.
I wasn't defending it. I was putting it in context. So you can concentrate on the ones who are stealing $2 billion. Trump wants to end paper ballots. I mean, wants to put in paper ballots and get rid of the damn machines. So one of the machine people said, because the machine people are liars, there's been no proof that the machines have been altered.
Yeah. And the vaccine's good for you.
Go watch the movie Kill Chain, done 2 years before the crooked 2020 election, and you will see definitive proof that all of these machines have been and can be altered at will and are inherently dangerous. Do they do it in every election? I don't know. Are we using a system that is remarkably prone to it? Yes. Have 3/4 of the European countries come to that conclusion and ban them? Yes. Do we still use them? Yes. Do we therefore reserve for ourselves the possibility that in the future we can cheat the way we did in 2020? 100% yes. And this is the time to wipe it out. And there's nobody who can explain it better to you than Donald J. Trump, who was cheated out of an election. And maybe it was for the better good of the country, but not for the better good of the 3 or 4 million people who died had the election come out the other way. And we will do a whole thing on that, because there's a human dimension to that that makes the whole answer to, should he have been elected in 2020? Would that have been better? Well, it makes the answer very, very difficult. So Trump is seeking the end of mail-in voting. He wants voting to be done by identification. And I do think there is, when he says the end of mail-in voting, he means very limited under very provable circumstances, like it was as of about 4 years ago. I voted by mail-in voting about 3 times, and I had to put it in an affidavit. I had to explain where I went. And should I return, I had to come in that day, put it all in, and sign another affidavit. And if I wasn't going for a good reason, they would deny me.
Wouldn't this be a good way to use the new Real ID that was recently implemented?
Yeah, of course. Of course.
Right.
Of course. Of course. Of course. Of course.
They've done all the legwork.
There's only
Now
one
use
reason
it.
you don't want ID at elections, because you want to cheat. No other reason. The only people who say no ID are people who want to cheat. The only people who say, let's not clean out the rolls and get rid of the dead people, they want to cheat. Why would you want the dead person's name on a voter roll? You want to have a memorial voter roll? Great. Would you like to say that once they're on the voter rolls, you'd ever come off? So then you create a memorial voter roll and keep it in City Hall. But the one sitting there doesn't have the dead person's name in it. Now, does anybody know what kratom is? Kratom.
It's another one of those words.
Yeah. It's a derivative known as COH. Some doctors warn that there are signs the plant itself is potentially addictive. Users say that it contains pain and mood-related benefits. Well, the minute you hear that, you start to say, well, maybe it is addictive, right? And it provides an alternative to opioids. Well, opioids are not the only addictive substances. It's a plant from Southeast Asia. It's used in teas. The leaves contain, now listen to this, dozens of psychoactive chemical compounds, including mithridine. Kratom use in the U.S. began just in 2004. And the original kratom products were leaf material, much more concentrated abstracts have emerged, which are much more powerful, kind of like the history of marijuana, which is now much more powerful, even though they're trying to convince Trump into endorsing it, which I think would be a big mistake. I have no doubt that the subsequent, and I kind of went through a period where I thought medicinal marijuana, okay. Never liked recreational use. But now that I look at the studies of the last 5 years from Denmark, from Sweden, with the incidence of psychological illness derived from THC, and the massive, dramatic, monumental change in the powerful nature of marijuana from 5% to 90%. And the damage that the studies in Denmark and Sweden showed with the 5%, 30% greater chance of getting psychosis. You want a 30% greater chance of getting psychosis? Why? and there is nothing, and this is again from academic left-wing college studies. There's nothing in alcohol that suggests that problem. Alcohol is not good for you. Alcohol does a lot of damage. Marijuana deteriorates the brain 5 times more powerfully, and it works on different receptors in the brain. It works on the receptors in the brain that have to do with a sense of reality and violence. That's why it's been such a disaster in the place in which they legalized it. So big weed, which is a $70 billion business, spreading money around Washington, like you have to if you want to buy the Washington politicians, says, it's okay. I mean, it's better than them getting it on the street, because now we can cut out organized crime. Now, I've been following this argument and debating it for 30 years. If you legalize drugs, you'll cut out organized crime. We have legalized drugs in New York, and the amount of organized crime drug activity has tripled. The profit rate has quadrupled. Why? Because by going legal, you massively increase the market. And people want more. And the legal shops can't keep up with them, nor can the legal shops give them what they want eventually, because marijuana is, as against all of the liars who helped to make it medicinal and make it legal, so that in Colorado, the cars are bumper cars. People are half asleep when they're driving because here's a society that spent a fortune on stopping you from smoking. And it's going to make you smoke dope. It's going to encourage you to smoke dope. The minute it becomes legal, they put advertisements on television as to how good it is. Your kid isn't going to think there's anything wrong with it. And then 5 years later, your kid's going to have a violent episode, and you're going to say, where did that come from? And it came from the fact that you were too damn irresponsible and let him use something that you should have figured out 30 years ago was too dangerous for him. The acceptance of marijuana is a very, very dangerous trend in our self-indulgent society. And I am surprised that there's doubt as to Donald Trump's position. He voted against the banning marijuana in Florida. DeSantis was for it, and I voted for it. I voted for it because it's a no-brainer. So Ted, You may be asleep by now, but we'll get off very shortly.
No,
And they're changing football.
I couldn't get a video of that. I was looking for a video.
Instead of booming long kicks into the end zone, they now poke a low wobbler.
Yeah, I can't find a video of the new setup.
And why do they do that? Because now they've changed it. I don't know if it's pros or just college. They've changed it to a 35% return if you don't run it out of the end zone.
Right.
So now the thought is that if you kick it in the end zone, there are very few, unless it's desperate, are going to take a shot at a run, right?
Mm-hmm.
But if you hit it down like to the 15-yard line and let it die there, they may take a shot at it, and you can keep them down to the 20 instead of the 35.
Right. So it's to encourage.
So now the kickers are learning how to squib kicks.
Squib kick. Yeah, that's a long time thing that's been used.
So we'll see.
We'll have to
I
see.
don't
I'm
know.
trying to find some video.
I don't find that such a horrible change.
No. Yeah, I do. I mean, long term, this isn't the biggest change in kickoffs.
But
They got rid of kickoffs a few years ago.
Honestly, isn't the kickoff that brings it out to what is it now, to the 30?
35, you're saying?
No, it's going to be the 35, but now it's the 30, right?
Yeah.
So hasn't that changed the run back? Nobody runs back anymore.
Right. But they also got rid of the, players aren't allowed to, when the ball's kicked, the kickoff team isn't allowed to move forward until the ball is caught.
Do you think that creates more run backs?
No. It's to reduce injuries, which is reduced injuries. So I guess that makes sense.
Well, I think they're trying very, very hard to preserve the kickoff, even though it's become a almost a formal part of the game.
Yeah, because they kick it out of bounds.
So they're trying to make it meaningful. I'm not sure this is such a bad idea.
And it probably increases scoring if they're going to start at the 35
Well,
instead of the 30.
I think it adds a level of strategy that isn't there. It doesn't do injustice to the game. It is a kicking game, theoretically.
Yeah, but when you're starting off 5 years up or 5 yards closer, that has a fundamental change in the game.
Well, I
right?
mean, if you know,
I mean, 20 years ago it was.
If they kick the ball in the end zone, you have it on the 35. By and large, you're going to take that. Right?
It used to be, and it used to be the 20, even 10 years ago.
You're almost in field goal range.
Yeah, that's a big difference.
However, if they kick it down to the 5-yard line, you got to run it. You can't pick it up on the 5-yard line and sit there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's a good point.
So that's the idea, to require you to run it.
Right.
And that the defense is going to net better than 35. The defense is going to keep you back in the 20 or 25.
Yep. Right. We'll see. We'll get some video.
We'll see. And therefore, you'll be working out run backs based on from the 5, 10, 15-yard line.
Right.
Well, the country of Bolivia, which has for two decades rather, been under the domination of the movement for socialism, has just voted for a right-wing party. It stripped the Socialist Party of any chance of power. Socialist Party got 3% of the vote. The Bolivians must be thinking really, really smart. The party in power since 2006 under Evo Morales and later Luis Arce nominated former Interior Minister Eduardo del Castillo amid a deepening economic crisis marked by dollar shortages, falling reserves, and growing social unrest. Zoltan Mondami Bamami Dadami? This is going to happen to you in New York. The socialist candidate got 3.1% of the vote. Hopefully, Zoltoli Zambami Zumbubu will get the same. So we'll have to see what this means, but the guy who won is a big admirer of They will put them on television. You know who. I won't say, so we don't ruin them. You know, they have assisted suicide now big time in Canada. It's even called the MAID Act. The MAID Act. It's called the Medical Aid in Dying Regime. Medical aid in dying. You get all kinds of options to kill yourself. Making it very, very clear that your life is in your hands, not in the hands of God, which is the ultimate form of what leads to the other forms of serious narcissism. Glenn Harold Reynolds has suggested very interesting propositions about changing the Constitution because there is a movement going on for a constitutional convention. Did you know that? And conservatives are pushing it. I'm not sure I agree with it, but but he's saying if we get a chance, since they want to pack the court, right? They want to do all kinds of things. Probably want to take away the president. Here's what he suggests. First, if Democrats can pack the Supreme Court, why can't we? So why don't we right now provide for 15 justices on the court and have Trump appoint them all? And let them all be about 35. So that's one. I don't know how serious he is with this, or he's being like sarcastic. He thinks we should change the Constitution and have a legislature of reform, a legislature of repeal. They should consider every law on a certain basis and see if it shouldn't be repealed. After it's passed, it should get a year or two to work. Then it should go to the House of Repeal, and they should decide whether it continues. They shorten the code quite a bit, right? How about no representation without taxation? That'd exclude about 44% of America. You don't pay taxes, you don't vote. This would be a real Republican country, that's for sure. Limit voting to net taxpayers, which would fit with Hamilton, who thought the people that should vote should have a stake in society. He would have been very much against dependents voting. Requirement for a balanced budget or they don't get paid. And how about this? This is a very, very interesting one. I'm not sure I agree with all these, but I think they're interesting thought. How about intra-state secession? What that means is not from the United States, from the state. Suppose Northern New York wanted to secede from Southern New York because they have such a different view of life in America. Suppose the Central Valley of Florida, which is overwhelmingly Republican farmers, wanted to switch. Staten Island.
I think that would just get too messy, maybe.
I think it's fascinating. I think it's interesting to think about. I don't think we should dick around with the Constitution too much. Very, very little. So, Ted, the big game's coming up for you. The Buckeyes, number 3, start the season with, oh my goodness, am I right about this?
It's not Michigan. No,
Try again.
In Texas.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's big. Yeah, a lot of these schools are opening up with big games.
Didn't Texas play already?
So no, I mean the season hasn't started yet. But yeah, some of these schools are opening up with big games now. There's a lot of money, TV
Wasn't that
money,
the national championship game.
and you can recover. I believe was it Ohio State Notre Dame or Ohio State Texas?
Ohio State, Notre Dame. Texas had lost out.
Yeah,
Texas is number 1 now.
yeah, that makes sense. They got
Ohio State's number 3.
Manning, the Manning kid.
Who's in between?
Whew, that's a good question. I'm gonna go ahead and wager
Penn State.
Penn State. I was gonna guess Penn State. Yeah, football's starting right around the corner.
I have to bring this up and then we'll sign off. But we have to do this for our Christian brothers.
Car number 4.
Egypt is involved in a campaign against the remaining 10 to 15 million Christians who live in the Sunni Muslim nation. And Cairo has steadily been killing them. And particularly now they're concentrating on the autonomy of St. Catherine's Monastery that's run by the Greek Orthodox Church and contains manuscripts that go back to the early days of the church, many of them equivalent to the, not the same as, but equivalent, maybe some of the same as the ones at the Vatican. The government in 2023 seized control over that St. Catherine's a manuscript. Muslims should not be in control of Christian manuscripts. Sorry. And they have yet to approve, the Egyptian bigots have yet to approve a single research request from Christian scholars. Now, the Trump administration should jump in here. And we give Egypt $1.4 billion. We can give them Mugats. You don't get to persecute Christians. Now, Sisi says he isn't doing it. Somebody else is doing it, but I can't imagine he doesn't control the library. So why doesn't he give these books back to the Orthodox monks, huh? And stop messing around with my religion. And don't tell me your religion's like mine. My religion doesn't teach me to kill people. Your religion, read correctly, authorizes you to kill people, which is why you guys kill a lot more people than we do. So have some respect for a superior religion. That's really a religion, not a death cult. Newsom is going to redistrict. But I want to give you an idea of how totally vapid he is, how below all that hair, he must have put holes in his head for that hair and taken out and sucked out his brains. That's what I think happened. Because first of all, no matter what he does in 2030, there's going to be a change in the number of representatives because he's going to lose population. He's going to lose 4 to a blue state. Right now, he had already done a reapportionment, which was considered to be one of the most highly partisan, illegal in the country. And he wants to do another one now at the end, a quick one. He's got to get a referendum passed this fall, and they're 2-1 against it. So I don't know what kind of games Mr. Fancy Hair is playing. But God willing, he's going to lose it. I mean, I hope he loses it. How do the people of New York and California, how do they end up so dumb? They would like us to believe they're right and the rest of the country is wrong. But you know, they're just exposed to more decadence. They're not exposed to greater anything, greater thoughts, greater art, greater writing. Texas is back. They're going to redistrict. We'll see what happens with that. The mother of Musk's child, Ashley St. Clair, has a podcast called Bad Advice. But you know where it's on? X. I don't know how that plays. I don't know how it plays. I don't know how it plays. Well, the House Democrats have returned. They're about ready to do their thing. What do you think of Sherrod Brown running again? He was pretty bad when he ran the first time. He can have a chance.
Look, I mean, yeah, it's a midterm, so we'll see.
I mean, he'll have a better chance because of name recognition, I guess, right? Is that the problem? The risk? Is that the risk? Yeah. Well, let's hope. We want to make one more chance, and then we'll sign off to see if they agreed yet on another meeting. Anything?
Nothing yet. No, we nothing yet.
Okay.
Nothing new, I should say.
So we'll see. We'll let you know. If we hear anything, maybe we'll just come on and say it. Meeting. Otherwise, we'll see you tomorrow night on Lindell TV. And we'll see you tomorrow night at 8 on Tried and True
X.
America's Mayor Live on X. God bless America.
It's our purpose to bring to bear the principle of common sense and rational discussion to the issues of our day. America was created at a time of great turmoil, tremendous disagreements, anger, hatred. There was a book written in 1776 that guided much of the discipline of thinking that brought to us the discovery of our freedoms, of our God-given freedoms. It was Thomas Paine's Common Sense, written in 1776, one of the first American bestsellers, in which Thomas Paine explained, by rational principles, the reason why these small colonies felt the necessity to separate from the Kingdom of Great Britain and the King of England. He explained their inherent desire for liberty, for freedom, freedom of religion, freedom of speech, the ability to select the people who govern them. And he explained it in ways that were understandable to all the people, not just the elite. Because the desire for freedom is universal. The desire for freedom adheres in the human mind, and it is part of the human soul. This is exactly the time we should consult our history. Look at what we've done in the past and see if we can't use it to help us now. We understand that our founders created the greatest country in the history of the world, the greatest democracy, the freest country, a country that has taken more people out of poverty than any country ever. All of us are so fortunate to be Americans. But a great deal of the reason for America's constant ability to self-improve is because we're able to reason, we're able to talk, we're able to analyze. We are able to apply our God-given common sense.